Hey, beautiful souls. I'm Brooke. I am an intuitive Reiki master. I'm also a channel for the divine. I am here with Adriane, and we have been sitting here discussing cards of truth. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not truth cards, not truth cards, cards of truth. And this is something that you offer for readings. And she was sitting here sharing just the different cards, how they work, how you do the readings. And it's absolutely fascinating to hear all of it because it's like, holy smokes, like so much starts making sense.
Exactly. So a lot of you have probably heard of destiny cards. So these are related to destiny cards. But this man named Ernst Wilhelm came up with this cards of truth. So it's much more specific. You can get more specific. With destiny cards, it just has to do with what day you were born. This actually has to do with what time you were born as well. So that makes a difference. And what we have is you get a birth card spread. So for example, I'm an 8 of diamonds. So that's literally in Cards of Truth system. It's the card of success. It's kind of crazy, but it is considered that. And from there, then that's my birth card. And then we do Sun through Saturn. So basically that is it's your material existence. Okay. And you also then go to North Node, South Node, or since this is based on Vedic, but we use the tropical zodiac, we go to Rahu and Ketu. And then we have a card and it's called your ecliptic card. So that's basically like where your midheaven is, right? It's your 10th house. It's the start of your 10th house. And in this system, we use an equal housing system called Campanus, for anybody who, is more into all the astrology and all the housing systems, because we do use astrology in this system. It's really important. And then we go to your Uranus card, your Neptune card, and your Pluto card. So that's going to be your birth card spread. And the planets are going to be distributed. We're only going to Saturn with where the planets in your birth card chart are distributed. So, if you're a Leo sun, like we are in right now, the sun is in your sun card, which is what Leo is. So I have nothing in Leo. So my sun card is the King of Spades, and it's my 12th house because I'm a Virgo rising. So what you see there is 12th house, and I have no placements in that card. And we look at that as your first 52 years of life. Sun is all about the foundation of your life. So, and the King of Spades is, we have what are called fixed and semi-fixed cards in the system. So what we start with is a Jack spread, because there's 3 different spreads. So Jacks are like creation energy, right? Creation happens really fast. So you'll see the cards are in order, right? It's like a 52 card deck. So all we're doing is, Ace of Spades through King of Diamonds, basically. So 52 cards. And if you're born on December 31st, sorry, you're the Joker.
What's that mean?
So, and what Brian told me, David's assistant, he said that you look at if you're born before noon on the 31st, then you're going to look at the card that's the day before on December 30th, which I can't remember. It might be Ace of Hearts. And then if you're born after noon on the 31st, you're going to look at January 1st, which is the King of Spades. So this is creation energy. We start with the Jack spread. It's fast. It moves really fast. Jacks move really fast. Then we go to what's called the Queen quadration. And that's really what I look at for your birth card spread. Because queens are about sustaining. So our lives take time, they sustain over time. So instead of being like creation happens really fast. You
Mhm.
know, your parents have sex, there's an egg and a sperm, there's conception, you know, and when you're born, like when you're born, comes out, you have that first breath, like it's quick, right? So the queen's that sustaining time, and then the king spread or is death or the ending, because death usually, you know, it's like you take your last breath, and you know, it's pretty quick. I mean, you're still alive until you're dead, right? So we look at the queen spread, and queens are all about sustaining energy, whereas kings are about endings. So, you know, that's more about death and endings, destruction, more destruction energy when you're looking at that. So like I was saying, like King of Spades is my sun card. It's a very powerful card though, because through those three spreads, the Jack, the Queen, the King, it doesn't change position. So we have a spread. All the cards as they move through, except for three cards, change positions. So the King of Spades stays in the same place through the Jack spread, the Queen spread, and the King spread. So that's like the King card. The Jack card that stays in the same position is the Jack of Hearts. So that's a very powerful card as well. So that's one of the reasons why my spread, the Eight of Diamonds, is the card of success, because I have the King of Spades as my sun card, and I have the Jack of Hearts as my Neptune card. So I have two of the three fixed cards show up in my spread. I don't have the Queen, which is the Eight of Clubs. Now, Eight of Clubs is super fast moving energy. It's like associated with like the Eight of Wands, basically in the tarot. So it's like the leaves blowing on the wind. So that's why the Queen is it's quick moving energy with the Eight of Clubs. So that's the third fixed card. We also have what's called semi-fixed cards. So they only are in two positions throughout the Jack, Queen, and King spread. And I have two of those cards in my spread. So I think that's why also it's considered the Eight of Diamonds is considered the card of success, because there's a lot of power in that. The Ace of Clubs with the Two of Hearts, that's a semi-fixed card. So basically what it is you can't have, you can't come together in love without inspiration. So Ace of Clubs is like the birth of inspiration. And the Two of Hearts is coming together in a relationship, right? An emotional relationship.
That is my yearly card this year on
Ace of Clubs is, or your Two of Hearts?
Ace of Clubs.
Ace of Clubs. Okay. Yeah. So that's semi-fixed. So that's my Mars card, so it's all about passionate inspiration. So, we look for Ace of Clubs for the potential for a new relationship. That's an indication that you might fall in love. It's one of the indications that you might fall in love. So it's like a bee on a flower. So we use nature for this system. So, the bee pollinates the flower, and the bee also gets, that pollen to take it back to make honey, right? But you can't have one without the other. You got to have the bee and the flower to have that process take place. So another one is the Seven of Diamonds with the Nine of Hearts. So Seven of Diamonds is all about, it's considered the millionaire card. So it happens to be my ecliptic. So it's that path, my kind of like, my 10th house career path.
That is my Jupiter card for the next 12. Well, it started in 2021 on my birthday, and it goes into 2034 when I go into my Saturn period.
Okay. All right. It's probably a year progressed. Yeah. With your destiny cards. It's probably your 7-year progressed. So Seven of Diamonds though is all about letting go. So it's associated with death in the major arcana of the tarot. So it's about letting go of everything that no longer serves, material things. So it can be wealth, it can be skills, it can be talents, abilities, to find that one thing. It's the one in a million makes you a millionaire. So it requires a lot of letting go of material things, because then it's semi-fixed with the 9 of Hearts, and the 9 of Hearts is associated with the Fool. So and 9s are K2 or South Node energy, and so they're considered to be the most friendly, but they're spiritual rather than material plane, because we end the material plane at Saturn and then we move into the spiritual plane. So, you know, ultimately, I mean, 9 of Hearts, it's beautiful energy, it's divine love, basically, you know, but you have to let go of all these material things to get to that divine love. So that's the challenge of the 7 of Diamonds, 9 of Hearts, semi-fixed energy. So we look at it from, you know, we'll start with spades. Spades are fire. They're the fire element. So it's like a tree. If you look at what a spade looks like, you know, it looks kind of like a tree. But it's the fire within. So spades are very internal. They're about health. They're about psychology, you know, they're about spirituality. So for example, the Ace of Spades, which I believe is in your spread because it's my North Node card. So yeah, it's in your spread as well, is the most occult card in the deck. So Ace of Spades is highly, like, you know, it's all about, because it's the birth. So aces are birth. They're like a sun associated with that first position, right? That sun card, that first position, birth. And with that Ace of Spades, that's like a beginning, a spiritual beginning, you know, or a healthy beginning, but really it's very much like about the occult and an interest in the occult and exploring the occult. So not only do I do cards of truth, I'm also an astrologer. I started as an astrologer. I do Path Astrology, which is what Christopher Witecki channeled in. So I use his system, which is really important with the degrees. And then I moved to Cards of Truth, which incorporates astrology. And then I also do human design, which also has astrology in it. So, you know, I have multiple systems, and now I'm dipping my toe a little bit in galactic astrology. So the fixed stars, and Mayan astrology, which is more lunar. So, you know, I continue to expand, and here we are with me with my North Node as the Ace of Spades, the most occult card in the deck, right? So, and it's kind of funny.
No coincidence we're having this conversation.
Exactly. So, you know, and that you're interested as well, because I can't remember where it is in your spread. What is it? It might be your moon card, right? Because wait, no, it's actually your sun card, isn't it? Ace of Spades is your sun card. Because 3 of Diamonds is Saturn. Yeah, no. So 3 of Diamonds is your birth card. And so Ace of Spades is actually your sun card. So that's the foundation of your life too, is the occult, you know? So as well, like you do intuitive readings, you do Reiki, you do tarot, you do all of these things. You have that same thing. Like, I'm moving towards it. It's not how I started. I mean, I didn't come to astrology. I only started as an astrologer 4 years ago. Like, I've had all these, I was in the entertainment business for 15 years. So it's a little bit later, right? Because if you look at your maturation date for these things.
Astrology was kind of like, okay, you're not crazy after all. Okay, you're not crazy after all. You're getting your guidance clearly, obviously. But astrocartography, yes, that one kind of blew me out of the water. I was like,
that's just using astrology and doing a relocation chart. So, you know, I mean, it's super interesting to do. Like, I'm in Sedona right now. I was born in upstate New York. Here in Sedona, I'm a Leo rising. I'm a 3-degree Leo rising instead of a 6-degree Virgo rising, which is what my natal chart is. So it's kind of interesting to have moved here. I basically came for the month when to me, the sun's in my natal chart, the sun's in my 12th, but in this relocation chart, it's in my 1st, you know? So it's fun to see how it shifts, right? And to see what lines, you know, you're dealing with, what you're closer to. And also, I don't know if you've looked at transits as well with your astrocartography, because you know, you can have transits when you move someplace too. And so it's like, oh, well, Venus was just my Venus in transit was just coming through this area.
This was the discovery that I recently had that blew me away with all of it. Okay, so I had traveled to different locations and didn't really understand why I was being called to those specific locations to do water healings, to ground in the light, ground in the angels, all that good stuff. So then when I started looking it up, I started noticing that I was being led to key energetic points that went hand in hand with my midheaven, okay, my career, my destiny, my legacy, and I was doing healings. Okay, well then Don't Trip was right in the middle of where I'd been doing my grid work, and I was like, well, this is getting kind of interesting. Okay, and like the most recent one, I was like, well, why am I so glued to my Uranus line? I have Uranus in the 5th house. Uranus is now conjunct Mars,
right,
on my Chiron. Okay, I am actively,
and with the North Node too,
with the
right?
North Node, and I'm on my Uranus line. I'm literally healing the masculine's heart, literally. And I was led to that geographic location. Now I'm able to piece it together and see it in the transits, that's the reason why I was meant to be here. And I was like, this kind of blows me away.
It helps to see that guidance, right? Yeah, and we would probably see, like, if I looked at your cards, which I probably should have done, you know, you might have a 5 of diamonds showing up in this year, which is all about literally moving. You know, like I've been a nomad for the past 3.5 years. So I have 5 of diamonds in my Mars card for my 7-year progress spread. So it's like and it's when you have an odd number card and an odd number position, it's stronger. So it's like I've been literally moving with that 5 of diamonds energy since basically, like, since that progress spread hit. So
I don't know how I would look to see that. I don't even know.
yeah, I mean, I could look at your spread and see. Let me look at it just right now really quickly and just check it out and see what you got. If you got a 5 of diamonds showing up prominently, because you're kind of wandering around.
It
You
feels
do. So it's in your year spread in the South Node position. So you do have that going on. Yeah. So it is showing up. It is showing up. And because that South Node or K2 position is considered to be the most friendly, and it's about what we're perfecting in this life. So just this year, you happen to be perfecting that moving around. The other thing that it is upping your skills too. So at the same time that you might be moving, you might be doing a lot of learning. So, and improving your skills, which is what I have done as well. Like, I got certified in Cards of Truth in 2020. I got certified in Human Design in 2021, you know, and I'm continuing to improve my skills as I'm moving around. Yeah. I've been in 14 states, people, 14 states. So.
There's just so many different avenues to go down that I feel like I'm like you. Like, I dive into one and I get to it and I'm like, okay, this is amazing. And another one pops up and I'm like diving into this one too. So I'm really excited to start my next deep dive. I just can't decide what it is that I kind of want to go towards. Like, I love human.
Hey, you're sacral, right? You're sacral. So what does your sacral say? You know, don't listen to your brain. Like, you got to listen to your sacral. Where is it taking? Are you man gen or are you pure gen?
Pure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I want to do all of it.
But it's a lot of it's about timing, though. That's the thing about the sacral. I mean, and you just have to keep asking it the yes or no questions in the moment. So it's like, hey, what, you know, what are you looking at? Like human design. Do I want to learn human design? It's going to be a yes or a no. And if it's a hell, it's got to be a hell yes for you to go down that path. Now, if it's not a hell yes, it's not a no. It's just not the right time. So your sacral gives you timing too.
It's not the right time yet because I still have so much that I want to learn when it comes to astrology.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to dive into with astrology, right? But I just consider these other systems an extension of astrology. So, because they incorporate astrology. It's just like, oh, I moved from astrology, and I originally learned with Deborah Silverman, and then I trained with David Palmer, the Leo King, as well. And then I came to Path Astrology with Christopher Witecki, and that just, I mean, it's amazing how applicable it is. At least that's what I found in the readings that I've done, how much it resonates for people. And so you get a little bit different flavor of what rulers are, because, you know, if you look at a traditional chart ruler, if I looked at my traditional chart ruler, it would be Mercury. I'm a Virgo rising and I have Mercury in Gemini. But in step astrology, and it makes so much more sense, I am a 15-degree sun in Cancer, so that nets to 6, which is Venus energy. So actually Venus ends up being my chart ruler, and I'm also a 6th-degree Virgo rising, so Venus also rules my rising as well. And I also have a 6th-degree Chiron, so it's what we call a soul harmonic, when we're seeing the same number like that, and that energy of Venus, 7th house, you know, Taurus. Oh, well, it's not Taurus, actually. It's Libra showing up in multiple places, right? And I mean, I got a double in my big 3. So it's like, I look at Venus, it makes so much more sense why I'm the way that I am.
Right.
So, you know, I'm super Venusian. I mean, and I have Venus conjunct my midheaven. She's right up at the top of my chart. So it's kind of like, I can't ignore her. Yeah. You know, and I'm learning some of this other stuff, and it's just reinforcing, like, I have a Mayan astrologer who I'm living with now, and she just did my reading today. And then we were doing Feng Shui yesterday, and she's like, you're a 2. It's like literally the number of love and relationships.
I love it.
You know, so it just keeps like.
So she does astrology too?
Yeah, not Jennifer, but Rachel, who moved in.
Okay. I was like, she didn't strike me as an astrologer, but that's cool.
No, not Jennifer, Rachel, who just moved in. So yeah, it's super cool. And she does human design too. So we're just like, we're talking about doing retreats together and working together. She also does sacred sexuality. She does like tantra and so it's really awesome. So
I love it. Well, if y'all do
but yeah, I mean, like, if we look at yours, like, I haven't looked at your, you know, straight astrology. So it's like, when I look at your straight astrology, I mean, there's a lot to be said about, you know, what kind of soul harmonic we might see showing up for you, you know. I mean, because like, you're Cancer rising, right? So probably we'd look at your moon, right, as your chart ruler.
Yeah.
And you know,
which this full moon is happening conjunct my natal moon.
Look at you.
I know,
this is crazy. So with this big
grand cross literally, it's hitting my natal moon, it's hitting my Chiron, it's hitting my 4th house. It's in my 4th house. And my second.
Is it your 4? Is it, wait, is it your Cancer rising? So is it 7th or is it 8th? Is it
It's
showing up
8.
in your 7th? It's in your 8th.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really intense, right? Here we are in Scorpio's house in the first place, and Pluto's Scorpio,
And then I've
that
got,
8th house.
Pluto on top of my Venus in the 6th house. While
Yeah.
Venus is opposing all that, it's like,
I'm like, Venus just moved into Leo.
I just have to pause and be like full surrender.
Oh, of course. I mean, no wonder you're like, oh, the energy is so intense. Girl, come on. I mean, this fixed Grand Cross is no joke. This is some intense. I feel like it's the worst Grand Cross that you can have is the fixed. I mean, this is like 4, we got Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo at a 4-way stop sign, and nobody wants to move. And nobody's gonna get ground.
Right on all my personal planets.
Yeah, that is hardcore. That is that is hardcore.
Oh,
no joke. Yeah, that's serious. I mean, for me, it's like 6th and 12th house. So, I mean, it's conjunct Saturn. You got Saturn sitting there too.
Yeah, Saturn's been on my moon for a hot minute.
Yeah, that is not, Saturn on any personal planet, even though like I met my ex-husband when Saturn was conjunct my sun, because it's my 5th house ruler, because I'm a weird ass freaking Virgo rising with a Capricorn 5th house, and I left him when Saturn opposed my sun. So you can't make this stuff up. Like Saturn transits, especially to your luminaries, like, whew, that is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, God, just let me make it through this, because all this is happening on my moon and my Chiron. Like, just having,
and you feel it, because it's like, okay, this biggest past life wound, along with my emotions, all of it together.
Like, am I literally gonna make it through it? Am I literally like, whew, this is intense.
I mean, at least Saturn's retro, right? So, unless, I don't know, were you born with Saturn retrograde in your chart? Because depending, but at least it gives you just a chance to review it rather than, really having to make the cuts, right? Because Saturn it's like, it narrows things down. So,
oh, I feel like things are getting narrowed down.
Well, and I mean, sometimes it can be good because, you and me with our Jupiter energy, like it can be just too overwhelmingly big, because it's like, we have all the options in the world. Can we please narrow it down?
Yeah. It's true.
It's like, I keep trying to figure out where I was supposed to live, and everybody just keeps telling me, you can live anywhere.
No, you can't.
But I just have to follow my sacral. I'm a pure sacral.
So at this point, after, doing energy work on my Saturn and my moon line, my Pluto and my sun line, my Mercury, and now my Uranus, I'm like, well, what's next?
Chiron?
I don't think I have a Chiron in the United States.
Oh, okay. You hit all your US lines, so you're
my
good.
Mars and my Venus are in Texas right before you get to the Mexico border. They kind of cross at an interesting spot. I'd have to look it up. And then my Jupiter line goes parts of New York, like a little bit through the East Coast, like North Carolina, South Carolina, and then go straight through the east side of Florida.
So you spent time there?
It felt good.
Yeah. Well, Jupiter, it should feel good. Jupiter's, it's the greater benefic. What you just have to watch out with your Jupiter line is overindulging in food or drink or sex or whatever the overindulging might be. So that's the big thing with Jupiter, you know, just because it's so expansive, it's the party animal, you know, it's like Sag's ruler, like, woohoo.
Yeah. Very true, very true. Well, I mean, it's my ruler too. I can get there. Yoo-hoo, let's go have fun.
Right.
Who's ready to party?
Exactly. But that's why we need Saturn, right? We need a little balance for our Jupiters.
This is true. This is true.
Let's add a little discipleship, right?
Yeah. It's definitely been interesting to feel the difference.
Yeah. And then we could look at your cards to see, you know, like if you have a 4 of diamonds coming up, which is all about, 4 of diamonds is real estate. It's literally like buying a house. If you see, for example, like this year, I have 4 of diamonds in my moon position with King of Diamonds as my MC or my ecliptic card. So King of Diamonds is like making a big sacrifice, like paying a big down payment, right? It can be. So, and then 4 of diamonds is literally real estate. So it could be buying property or a house or something like that. So that could show up for me this year because I'm walking that path of making this big, you know, like sacrifice of money. So a down payment with that 4 of diamonds tied in together. So, you know, we look at that to see, oh, you got 4 of diamonds coming up somewhere as you're ascending or in your spread someplace, like, you know, are you going to buy something? Like I've never bought anything. So, you know, that would be a big deal for me, even though I have a lot of 4 of diamonds people in my life. My mom's a 4 of diamonds. So I got 4 of diamonds people showing up everywhere. It's because I am there. The 8 of diamonds is their Saturn card. So my birth card is their Saturn card. So I usually am showing up to teach them some kind of life lesson, you know, and that's why I end up with so many 4 of diamonds in my life. So, because we have those spreads that overlap, like we were talking about, when you have overlapping spreads like that. So, and especially, you know, like you're my Saturn card. You showing up in my life. My sister-in-law is, you know, one of my first clients. She's also a 3 of diamonds. Showing
I
up in
don't
my
think
Saturn
Saturn's
card.
like all bad energy.
That's what I'm saying. It's not, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like it's about discipleship, discipline, it's authority. It's where do you have your authority? It helps you to narrow down choices. Like Jupiter just keeps adding choices. It's like how big can it get? But expansion uncontrolled is not good, you know?
Like that big Jupiter Neptune. Oh my gosh. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
I don't know
Jupiter,
if I can handle any more magic synchronicities.
The Jupiter Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Oh, guess where that was? On my north node. It was like 3 minutes away from exactly on my north node.
Oh my goodness.
Who knows what's gonna in my 7th house. So hopefully that bodes well for me. Yeah, crazy. I'm like, oh my God, who can make this stuff up? It hasn't happened in Pisces in 156 years and it's on my north node. Okay.
Yeah.
I know, I understand. We have crazy transits, right? I know you're dealing with this now.
Like, but honey,
it's
been nonstop for the last 2 years. So when I say nonstop, when we've had major like crosses, like at my Jupiter was lit up like a Christmas tree, the last grand cross that we had last year.
Well, I mean, the joys of squares is that they promote growth, right? So that's the thing about if you have a T-square or you have, you know, because too much easy energy, too many trines and too many sextiles make for a lazy person. They don't have any energy to change anything. Why would they want to change? They got all this easy flow energy. So they might sit on their ass their whole life and not accomplish anything. So that's the joy of, you know, it's like the universe is giving you an indication. You need to be moving. You got to be doing some change. And especially with fixed grand crosses, like the fixed people don't want to change, right? Like they don't want to change. Forget that. We're fixed.
I didn't
We're not
realize how
moving.
fixed I really was.
Was that Aquarius? Yeah, right. It's like, I mean, think about it. Taurus, right? I mean, fixed Earth, it's the most fixed there is, fixed Earth.
Yeah.
Come on. It takes like an earthquake to move them, right? They're like, that's why it's stubborn as a bull, right? Like they dig their heels in. Those Taurians, they don't want to move for anything unless it's food or sex or comfort in some way, some kind of pleasurable thing. Yeah. I believe that Taurus has invented red wine and chocolate, definitely.
Yeah. But
otherwise, it's like, I'm gonna stay in my comfy, cozy pasture, you know, and just keep munching on I'm not gonna move. Why should I move? Why should I change? So North Node and Uranus, like the ruler of Aquarius in Taurus, it's just, you know, the lightning bolt, like it's crazy. Ascension, vibration, energy. Come on, everybody. Let's up our worth and our value. Yeah. You know, it wants to move way faster than it can in Taurus. And it's like,
yeah. Yeah.
Mars and Taurus. Mars is like, what? I'm in Venus's traditional home. What? I can't move fast enough. I can't take enough action. Yeah. We had this crazy Uranus Mars North Node conjunction, you know, not that long ago. It's like the North Node's like, come on, everybody. God's like, come on. Let's get on board. Remember, this is your promise. Like, let's take care of the earth. Let's up our, you know, let's up our worth and our value. Let's ascend everything. Let's ascend the vibration. Let's take physical action on this. We got Mars in the mix, right? But Taurus is like,
nope.
So what happens? Oh, we get a full moon. Let's add in some Leo energy.
Yeah. I'm like, God, just let me make it out alive. You know.
Well, I mean, like I said, at least it's gonna get people moving. And those fixed signs, you guys need a little bit of, you know, I have a little bit of fixed energy. I don't have a ton. I have Saturn in Taurus, and I have Neptune in Scorpio because I'm that generation. But, you know, a lot of my energy is not, I'm way more mutable. So I tend to be way more like.
I thought I was too. Until
with your Pisces, right?
Yeah. Until I started realizing that I was a lot more fixed. Like I would want to start new things, but I would find a block because, you know, it's lipstick, for instance. Like when I get really attached to something, like
of course, fixed.
I don't want to change my lipstick color. And not only did I lose one, but I lost 2 tubes during that Mercury retrograde. And I was like, they're trying to show me something here. And I know there's a message in what's happening. I've lost both of my tubes of lipstick. That's Mercury the mouth. Okay. They're trying to teach me a lesson to not be so attached and to go with the flow. And that if I have to change something, to be okay with changing it, to be okay with starting something new. But I was like, what if
I your Venus
with a tube of lipstick I don't like? You know?
Well, just listen to your sacral, you know? So that was something for you to respond to too, because you're as a generator, you gotta wait to respond, right? Here it is, you lose two. It's like, oh, I actually have to respond to this and do something about it. What does my sacral say? What color do I want? Let's go into our body. Do I want this color? No. Do I want this color? Hell yes.
Yeah. And you know, basically what it boiled down to, it really wasn't even over the lipstick. It was over me recognizing
Right. The attachment to it.
You're pretty fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
I
meant to
know.
be flexible. You're meant to be flowing. Okay, it's gone. So be it. Find a new one.
Right,
That's
right. I
really,
mean, it's a big thing, right? Like not to be attached to the outcome. It's like, because how is that resourceful?
mhm,
Does that benefit us when we get stuck in that kind of, energy and not let it flow?
mhm.
So yeah, it was a great thing to realize, like having that epiphany about yourself, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, like your sun loves to flow. I mean, you got that sun in Pisces, it's like, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that moon, not so much.
Mhm.
And then I got to where like I could eat the same thing and I'd be fine. Like
Yeah.
if I love it, sure. Well, why not? I'll eat it, you know, every week. But
Oh yeah, you're open taste, aren't you? Yeah, makes sense because
mhm,
it's local and seasonal. So and then like you're open to trying other things, but yeah, you're better on a fixed schedule, like eating the same thing at the same time every day.
mhm,
So that actually serves you in from a human design point of view with
mhm.
your PHS, with your primary health system, in case nobody else knows what I'm talking about. So
I don't even know what that is. Do share. Enlighten me.
so yeah, that's how you digest the world. So it's how you digest food, it's how you digest the world. So it's true, but then every once in a while you're going to want to change it up. You're open, like the seasons are going to change, you're going to change your location is
Mhm.
the other thing. It's like, what's local here, with all the location changes you're doing. It's like, well, maybe you need to change what you're eating because you're in a different season in a different location. So what grows?
Yeah, I definitely do believe that, I was meant to be here to heal the heart. Truly feel like that's been successful. Um,
That's
so at this
fantastic.
point, I'm open to releasing being here. You know what I mean? Like it's time to let it go.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, that's a big thing with this full moon, right? I mean, it's culmination. So, in every ending, there's a beginning, and every beginning, there's an ending. So if
mhm,
we look at the fact that, if you set an intention on January 31st, when we had the new moon in Aquarius, this is 6 months later when we have the full moon. So we have the culmination, we have that beginning, that new seed that we planted at that point. And now we're here and we're seeing the culmination and we're kind of seeing the ending of that cycle. So, whatever's happened over this last 6 months, and it's what, eighth house for you. So it's other people's money, or in shorthand, sex, death, and taxes, right? it's other people's money. It's sex. It, you know,
so with that being said, I should be out here,
Well, I mean, the thing is like, what do you want though? I mean, because it can be a different focus. It could be on because it could be on the occult too. It could be like tarot
Mhm,
or, you learn something new in this last 6 months about astrology or Reiki or, some kind of energy healing or something. So,
mhm.
I mean, that's the other thing. Even though it's not daily work or anything, it is the occult. So it is those kind of taboo subjects. That's why it's sex and death. They're traditionally considered taboo, right?
Mhm.
So is, occult means like this. I mean, astrology and tarot and cards of truth and human design, and they're becoming much more mainstream and acceptable, thank God.
Mhm.
But it's definitely been ostracized in the past.
Yeah,
So you
I've
could.
had some major aha moments just going through Dylan's Instagram. Like that
Awesome.
has been truly eye opening, especially when it comes to my human design. Like anytime I make a large purchase by myself, there's extreme high anxiety complete meltdown. I question everything. Like, I beat myself up. It is a complete roller coaster. I hate it.
Do you have gate 48?
I have an open route. So I'm not.
I have an undefined route too. I know.
Yeah, I'm not meant to make those big decisions. I'm like, no wonder my body goes through such upheaval every time I go through the process of trying to make that decision, because it goes against my human design.
Yeah, you know, it's hard having an undefined route, you know, because it's one of our pressure centers. So we get a lot of pressure from the defined roots. They're the ones that are consistent. They have consistent motivation and they're consistently productive. And our society kind of runs that way. So, you know, those of us who have undefined or open roots, there can be a lot of pressure, and we can then be perceived, because we're absorbing and amplifying and reflecting it back, that we're the doers. Like, I just had this happen. Like, I was working with women who all had defined root except for me, and they're like, you ground us, you like root us, you're the one who's being productive. Like, so that all that pressure, right, to like produce when I really am not meant to consistently do that. So I mean, right, we're not doings, we're beings. So, and I think defined root people don't realize that a lot of the time.
Yeah, very true, very true, very, very true.
Yeah, so I totally get that root thing. So yeah, so it's empowering, right, to learn about, you know, where you've got definition, where you're undefined or opened, and the fact that, you know, where we have definition, we have consistent, we operate consistently. So you have a defined sacral, so you consistently have life force energy. You know, you consistently can create and work when it's in alignment with you. So, but that doesn't mean that you're producing, you know, like, and that you have consistent motivation. So
yeah, I think that's the hard part. But once I'm around people that, because
well, of course,
generator, like if they're like going, I start going.
Well, a lot of it is because of connections, right? Because then we end up with defined roots. Like my root's been defined because of Pluto. I have the gate 3 hanging from my sacral, and I don't have gate 60. So Pluto has been in gate 60 for a long time. So that makes the channel, it's called the channel of mutation. But the problem with that channel is you never know if and when mutation is going to hit. So it's kind of weird energy. But yeah, through the transits, like my root is defined at the moment and has been with Pluto in that gate. So you'll find that if you have hanging gates, you know, like that off of your sacral that connect to your root, or off of the solar plexus, or off of the spleen, you know, then with a transit or with a connection with another person, that's the other place where it can happen. Because when you're in somebody else's aura, you know, like you're at your friend's house. So depending on what your connection is there, it could be that you end up with a defined root. So it's not your natural state, you know, it's more conditioned because it's from the transits and it's from somebody else's aura. But you will then have that lit up, and then have, when you're in that person's aura, you have that consistent motivation with them. So that might be like what my one person is good to work out with for you, because it does define your root, and then you have consistent motivation to work out, you know, for example.
Yeah, it all made, like, it clicked. I was like, no wonder I am the way I am. I can't help it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the other thing is listening to your sacral. You know, if you're going to make a big financial purchase, you know, or decision, you got to listen to your inner authority. So you're waiting to respond to something, right? Like, oh, my car breaks down. So what am I going to do? Right? Am I going to get my car fixed, or am I going to buy a new car? So you've got this external clue of what you need to respond to. And then this is a big decision, right? Like, it's going to cost this much if I get it fixed, you know, and is it going to break again, or it's going to cost a lot to get a new car, right? And then you have to go to your sacral and ask it, you know, what it, and get that response, like that contraction, or which is a no, or the expansion, which is the yes, right? So that's what it comes down to. I mean, so it's learning. It's like, it's learning when we're in alignment and looking back and saying, oh, this was a really good decision I made. So if you go back to a financial decision you made and how you felt when you made that decision, you know, and you can go back and kind of see that was in alignment with your inner authority, then you know what it feels like. You revisit that so that you know what it feels like. So when it comes up again, then you know what feels in alignment for you, and you can go down that road, rather than when you look back and you say, oh, where did I let my mind control me, you know, in this decision, and what was practical rather than what my body told me, which is what my authority is. And it didn't feel like such a great decision, you know, and how that felt in your body.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff, you know. We're just so conditioned not to listen to our bodies. There's so much like mental pressure, because that's another place where we have a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So
well, this has been amazing. I love it.
Thank you so much. I know we talked about all sorts of stuff. We didn't just talk about the cards.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It is 5:55. Change is
I know. Perfect. And that's a net 6, which I love. It adds up to 15. So yeah. So if anybody wants to get a hold of me, I'm on Instagram at Adriane Astrology. You can also email me if you want. It's Adriane Meddy, ADrienneMettete @gmail.com. So thank you, Brooke.
I love it. Thank you, dear. And I'll be seeing you soon.
Okay, awesome.
All right.